Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your Monday night news show with me, Shreyas, and Chive. We've got a lot of stuff to discuss tonight, and I'm talking a lot. Eric Ten Hag has made Harry Kane his number one priority, but will this be another longed-out saga? We'll discuss that. Jadon Sancho, the future at Manchester United, could that be hanging in the balance? There's lots of talk going around that as well. There's so much stuff, honestly, with the ownership and financials, and we're going to try to touch on as many as we can. But we'll see how it goes. Shreyas and Chivi, I'm not going to ask how you are because it's a mundane question that I ask every single show. So what I'm actually going to ask is, because we're discussing a certain striker very shortly, Mr. Harry Kane, who is a transfer you always admired but was never the obvious choice, let's say, for example? Who was someone you look back in the history books, you used to watch him and you'd be like, really enjoyed him as a striker, such a good player, but wouldn't be the one that everybody goes for? Threw you on the spot a little bit there, so I'll give you a couple of seconds.
I would actually say Cavani.
Cavani?
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cavani?
Yeah, that was literally my dream striker.
Yeah.
And it just came out. But then, now go on, Tres.
Yeah, because I think during his time at Napoli and even his time at PSG, he was, a really, really good striker. He knew how to get the numbers. He knew, the energy that he used to bring onto the pitch as well. The way he used to, coordinate the attack. He was a spearhead, for whichever attack he used to play with. And I think when he came to Manchester United, he was a bit, past in his best years. But I think for the first season when he came in, definitely he was really good for us. He definitely stepped up in the absence of certain players. And yeah, I think for Manchester United at that point of time, he wasn't like, the obvious answer for us in that striker department. Like Cavani was the last person who would come to your mind in that transfer window. But we ended up signing him, and for at least one season, I think he was actually pretty decent for us.
Won't mind the prime Cavani in our team right now, Chivi.
Yeah.
Honestly, he doesn't even need to be prime, just a fit Cavani.
Yeah.
For me, just a physically fit Cavani, for me, would be excellent, would be ideal, because we've seen his build-up play, we've seen how good he is with the ball. Some of the, I was really, really impressed with how good he was in terms of his passing and his vision, awareness. I obviously I always knew he was a really good striker, but man, seeing the way he was playing, it was just. And then I think he would have actually come really, really good if we didn't have Ronaldo coming in the other season. But yeah, he's one of those ones. And just an honorable mention, this is probably a few years, a couple of years back. Huntelaar was one of my favorites as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, when he was mid-20s, and there was a period where he kind of didn't have a home because he was in between Real Madrid and then he was at Ajax, I think.
Schalke as well. He played for Schalke, didn't he?
Yeah.
Schalke, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. And there was that period where he just needed just one team to actually, just cash in and just believe in him. And he was one that I really wanted as a striker.
Do you know someone who I was a massive fan of? Miroslav Klose. I used to love him as a striker. When Bayern Munich let him go as well to Lazio, I was just scratching my head thinking, what the fuck's going on here? Because I was always a massive fan of him. I think he was top striker. And another one as well, another German striker, funnily enough, who every time I watched him, I was a big fan of, but he didn't. I don't know if he necessarily did it at club level. Was Nerville? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Oliver Nerville, I think it was. Yeah, striker for Germany back in early 2000s. People know him on about.
Yeah. No, I remember.
I don't know why. That's super niche kind of option, but yeah, I was always a fan of him when I watched him as well. Not the best thing with German strikers, but we move. Like I said, anyway, lads, we've got a lot of stuff to get into. So for people watching at home or wherever it is you're watching, please make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and get involved as we go through the topics on the table as well. It's always interesting to hear your guys' thoughts. So please do consider that. Now, transfer priority, lads. Loads of news coming out about this today, various different positions. The priorities are as follows. So number one is a striker. Number two is a midfielder in the style of a number 8. and number 3 is an attacking right back. So what we'll do is we'll start with the striker. This is coming from The Athletic, so you can, take its credit for what it's worth. Ten Hag is sold on Harry Kane as his first choice for a new centre-forward, the absolute priority position in the summer. Staff have brought him up to speed on the anecdotal details behind the hard numbers. Work is underway to assess whether Harry Kane's transfer is feasible, both from Spurs and players' perspective. United don't want to embark on a new saga like the Frenkie de Jong one last summer. Chivy, we've spoken about the striker situation so many times. I didn't even know what angle to go at this from because it just feels like there's fresh reports on every week. But surely Daniel Levy will still turn this into a saga despite what Manchester United think. Do you think if we go down this road, there could be risks of that?
Possibly, but I don't think he really has the upper hand in this case because I think Kane has just one more season to go.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah. He's got one more season left and then he could leave for a free. Now, they would definitely want to cash in on him. The most they can do is kind of cook up some bidding war against us and probably just feed the media with some other clubs that want to buy him and all that. And if we get the Qataris in, obviously to make it look like we have an endless stream of cash coming in. So he'll want to get as much as he can for Harry Kane. But I also remember that Harry Kane, when he didn't turn up for the start of the season because he thought he was going to Man City.
Yeah.
One of the things that he said was that they had made some sort of agreement that, they would let him go when he needed to go. So I think as much as Daniel Levy is really difficult in terms of negotiations, I don't think it would be as difficult as we think it will be.
You don't think he'd drag it out?
I don't think so. I know he will drag it out, but I don't think it will be as difficult as, say, if Kane had three seasons left.
Yeah, of course.
3 years left. Yeah. So, it's clear that he's thought about leaving before. He wants to leave, but he was respectful and then he came back. And then he made it clear that, some kind of conversation was had that when the time was ready for him to leave, he'd leave. So I don't think it will be as difficult as everyone makes it out to sound. I don't see how you can put £100 million on someone who's leaving. Someone's got a year. How are you going to do it? Like it's insane. And if Harry Kane actually wants to leave, that's a whole different thing. It's not like he's comfortable. It's not like he's saying, I want to stay here and win many more trophies, or how these guys really. Like when we're chasing Frenkie de Jong kept saying, "Oh, this is my dream club," and blah blah blah. Yeah, Harry Kane is not going to say, I want. It's clear that the guy is ready to leave, and I think it won't be as difficult this time.
It's weird, and it seems to be different thresholds with different people as to how much they would pay for him. You've got 30 Dreams in the chat saying Kane would be too costly, but what is that price at? Is that 100 million, or would you then take him for 80 million? Like, where's that threshold?
I'd
with
pay 80.
you guys?
I'd
80, I'd agree with.
Very happily give 80 million to get Harry Kane.
Yeah, it feels like a sore one if you go 100 million and above. You start going north of that. That's when it's like, not sure. Jaden, again, with another great shout in the chat, saying Marcus Thuram would be really good. I did a membership video, there's a new one coming out today, so don't worry about that. I will get it out. But I did a membership video, and he was one of the names that I mentioned who is going for a free in the summer.
Yeah.
And he's someone I would potentially look at. It looks really good. But Chelsea are linked with him.
Yeah, he didn't renew his contract, so he'll be on a free transfer. Yeah.
Anytime I've watched him for France, I think he's looked really good. Physical. The only issue, or if you call it an issue if you want, he has a similar playing style to Rashford a little bit, where he doesn't get involved in the build-up a lot. He'll just kind of wait on the last line and get him behind, and that's the kind of style that he plays. So whether you could fit him and Marcus Rashford in the same team together, it's kind of like the argument for a few players that we've spoken about. Shreyas, I know your number one target is Vlahovic from many times that I've spoken to you, but if he does come to Manchester United, what does he bring to this team specifically? Like, what qualities does he add that you're a fan of?
I think one thing certainly is that the link up play, the coordination, as well as the hold up play that Harry Kane would actually bring would be really, really great for us, because right now we don't have that in our team. Like every single week, right now we are relying on Weghorst to do that role, like to hold the ball up, allow Rashford as well as Anthony the time to actually, move forward and then feed them the ball to actually go for goal. Right now, that is the biggest reason why we, aren't able to generate that many chances. And even if in certain games our midfield is working well, we aren't really able to, apply the finishing touches to the game. And that's why most of our games, if you've seen this season, they've ended 2-1, 1-nils, to fixtures like that, where you could say that we might have scored 3 to 4 goals, like the Betis game as well, in which we could have scored more goals. We weren't really able to score that many goals. That is where Harry Kane actually comes in, because if you got a striker like Harry Kane in your team, you would actually, considering the games that we played, you would see us scoring more goals, because he not only knows how to finish, he knows how to get in the right areas at the right time, and he knows how to play alongside different profiles of players. Like he knows how to switch up his game, whether it's a Rashford playing alongside him, whether it's a Sancho playing alongside him, or it is an Anthony. So he's a very hybrid and very I would say experienced player, and the professionalism that he will bring in that striker position would be really good to have.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's hard to disagree. And I remember Chivy mentioned a lot about his leadership that he'd bring as well. Another kind of solid plate in that spine to be consistent throughout. Yeah, Harry Kane's a very interesting one. It's saying Ten Hag's making him out there as the main priority. How much is in that? I'm not entirely sure, but if it is, I'd happily go with it. I think we all just don't want a long ass drama throughout the full summer, do we? If we're being completely honest. So, yeah, like I said, lots to get into. So let us know your thoughts on the striker situation, where you'd go with it. If you're still, banking on Osman, if you've got another niche option, let us know in the comments section. I want to move on to the right back situation, because it's another thing that's been discussed as well as like the third priority. He was touching on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He said Aaron Wan-Bissaka's done well in the second part of the season, but United are listening to offers in the summer should there be interest in him. Another attacking right back will come on the agenda if Wan-Bissaka is sold. Exploratory talks have been held about Benjamin Pavard, whose contract expires in 2024. Whilst Ten Hag is a known admirer of Denzel Dumfries. And just recently, lads, as well, we've had Florian Plettenberg, Goal on Twitter, who's come out and said talks between Manchester United and Jeremy Frimpong's agent have begun. First round of talks were very positive. Eric Ten Hag admires Frimpong, and the player is open to leaving Bayer Leverkusen this summer. The right back situation, how are you assessing it heading into this summer, Chiv? Do you think we need a new right back? Are you happy with the current ones? Have you got any other outside shouts you'd go for?
I don't see it as priority, to be honest. I mean, it's definitely a position that we should be looking into, but it's not priority, in my opinion.
Why should we be looking at it? No, why should we? If we've got two right backs now, why do you think we should be looking at that situation?
I don't think we should. That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
So we should be looking into it further down the line, but it's not priority right now. Yeah. We can do with what we have at the moment. There's plenty more pressing positions that need replacements, urgent replacements, quality replacements. Yeah. And I think from what we get with Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, I think it's enough to just hold us off a little bit and allow them to battle for that position.
Yeah.
And then get someone else. Because Wan-Bissaka has actually shown us now that he offers something different. And I think if he wasn't ill and he played yesterday, I'm not saying we would have won, but I don't think what's his name would have had that much joy on the right hand side the way he did yesterday.
St. Maximin rinsed him, didn't it? Absolutely rinsed him.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it was like that a little bit then. I didn't think. Shah Sam's in the chat saying, how old is Pavard? I believe he's about 30 years old, isn't he? Something like that.
28 or 30, yeah.
No, he's 20. He's between 26, 27. I think 27, 28. 27, 28. Yeah, he's younger than Pogba.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm more kind of open to that then. I thought he was much older, Pavard, but it's not bad. It's not a bad option at all. In regards to our own right backs currently, Shreyas, it feels like the pendulum's kind of swung the opposite way, and it's since the start of the season. How have you assessed that, like the situation with Dalot? Because you would have asked us at the start, we would have been like, not a chance.
Yeah.
Is Wan-Bissaka replacing Dalot in this team?
Yeah, definitely. I think after the World Cup, when Delo actually went out, Wan-Bissaka actually, he came in and he actually took his opportunity really well. And he's actually provided Ten Hag with an option, in certain games where we've seen Delo struggling at times defensively. We've seen him making the change and getting Wan-Bissaka on. And, Wan-Bissaka has actually been doing pretty well, whether it is, with the ball as well when he's trying to progress forward. Defensively, he's been really sound as always, because that's his area. But one thing that I definitely have noticed is that Ten Hag definitely seems to prefer Diogo Dalot over Wan-Bissaka. Like there have been, a lot of games where a lot of us have been saying that Wan-Bissaka needs to start this game, but we've seen Dalot being picked ahead of him because perhaps there is something in Dalot that probably Ten Hag sees more important to his system. But I've seen Dalot being picked ahead of Wan-Bissaka in certain games. Definitely he has been, but I think right now at the moment I think they provide each other with good competition. It definitely provides, like before the World Cup, we saw, how much Delo was being played, like non-stop. He was being played every single 3 days. So it provides him with rest. It provides Wan-Bissaka with rest as well. And, with the competition for places, they get the best out of each other. So hopefully, till the end of the season, they're able to keep it up, because if not, the way the rumors are coming about, Ten Hag is going to be really ruthless this window.
Yeah, I've you know what, with Dalot, I don't know what it is. Ever since he's come back from this injury, I touched review after the game, it just does not seem himself at all. And I love the way he was progressing under Ten Hag. It looked like he was getting to that kind of dynamic right back. He was getting better at defending. I remember watching the West Ham game. Somebody's defending at the back post was sensational. His awareness was really good. But then he seems to be going the other way now. And then Wan-Bissaka, I'm like, he's my starting right back, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys, it's the exact same as well. So the right back situation is very interesting. Can I just very quickly say, whoever it is got a phone. There's a phone buzzing on the side, and it's coming through really loud on the speakers. So I don't know if it's going through on the YouTube or not. I'm just double checking.
Yeah.
Next priority position apparently is a number 8 in midfield. I'm not going to go into who I want. You all know this. I don't know if Chivy's got a similar kind of view on that. But is there any new ones who are coming about? Are you seeing? You think, you know what, he could do a job for Manchester United? Any midfielders at all who would really function next to Casemiro in there? Or would you maybe take a Sabitzer on a 20 million, 30 million? How do you see it? That's for anyone, by the way. Whoever wants to take that.
No, I wouldn't take Sabitzer based on what I've seen now. This is no shade on him. I just think, I think we have to be really smart with our options, and I think there's better options in the market that we could go for other than Sabitzer. I think I was chatting with you, Nick, about this all in the chat, and I was saying I just don't see what he does. I can't put a finger and be like, this is what he does. You know, I know what Eriksen does. I know what Casemiro does. I know what Fred does. I even know what McTominay does. I don't know what this guy does. Is it defensive midfield? I know he can play defensive. He's kind of like Donny. Like, we know that he's adept at the 6, he's adept at playing 8. He can play a 10. He can play out wide. We know this, but we haven't seen him display this in the team. And I've watched him for the past 2 games, kind of like focusing on him. And I just don't see what he does. And I like the idea of him, but, and for number 8, I think, Nick, you and I agree on this. Like, it's Frankie de Jong. that's
the answer, isn't it?
It's Frankie honestly, that's it. Like, if we get him, because we know that Eriksen kind of, even though his attacking abilities are fantastic and they haven't dropped off, the physical side of it, like when we played Arsenal, Bukayo Saka just had a field day on him and had a field day.
City as well.
Well, yeah, when we played at City, so like, we can play Bruno on the right, play Eriksen in the 10, and then you have Rashford, so you have like a whole different dynamic up front there. If Sancho isn't playing well, if Anthony's putting up a shit show like he did on against Newcastle, so it gives another option. Well, obviously, if we can't get Frankie de Jong, if it's too expensive, then there's other options. I'm hearing a lot about this Enzo Lefebvre guy. I really don't know that much about him. I've only seen like YouTube clips, but from what I hear and from what I've seen, he also has defensive abilities as well as attacking abilities. So that would be great. I'm open to anyone, to be honest, on that front. there's deals to be made. I'm hearing Ryan Gravenberch isn't too happy at Bayern Munich
Yeah.
because he's not getting that much playing time. That could be
Another
an
one.
option.
It's a bit so. He's not
Yeah,
happy.
exactly. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that could, yeah. So I just want to see us being shrewd in the market. Like we're always going out and spending lots of cash. I want us to be shrewd. Like Liverpool was shrewd in buying some of some of their buys. Bayern Munich is always very shrewd. I want to see, I want to see some of those kind of steals, that comes out of nowhere that no one's really expecting. That's the kind of I want to see that, apart from just superstar names.
So what you're saying is Danny Drinkwater on loan or as a free agent. That's the kind of market we're looking at.
Yeah.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, Shreyas, where's your head at with the number 8 position? Have you got anyone in mind? Have you been chopping and changing between players? I know there's like Chivy touched on, there's a lot of hype around this Lafay, I think it is, who plays for Lorient in League One. I've seen bits of him. Looks really good, but I also think at the same time it's a bit of a hype train. Like one guy did a video on it, and then everyone else is like, "Oh my god, look at this guy!" and kind of copying what he's saying. But give your thoughts on it, Shreyas, if you can.
I think by the time the next summer window rolls in, I think it would be interesting to see how this Premier League table lines up as well. Because if certain teams are actually struggling, we could actually take advantage and actually take some players off certain teams. Like probably if West Ham continue to struggle, we could probably take someone like a Paqueta or probably someone like a Declan Rice off them. And having someone like a Declan Rice, you have that liberty as well. That you've got a very perfect backup for Casemiro, and some you can actually play Casemiro and Declan Rice alongside each other, and then have Bruno functioning in that advanced role. So it would probably actually allow Bruno to play with much more freedom, because then he wouldn't have that idea in his mind that if I lose the ball, then probably we get hit on the counter, because then you've got Casemiro and Declan Rice both covering up for him if he loses possession. Except that you also got the call for Ruben Neves from Wolves. If Wolves keep aren't able to ascend up the table, Ruben Neves is going to be available. He's going to be a very decent option as well. So I think it all comes down to the how the table actually shapes up, what kind of players we might be able to attract towards us by the time the next window rolls up. Because if certain teams struggle, we could probably get a better deal on them. Like I think it was in the start of this window that Wolves wanted around 100 million for Neves. Probably if they don't do as well, we could get him for like 50 or 60, which I think for a player like Ruben Neves, 50 or 60 million is a very, very good deal. So yeah, I think Ruben Neves or Declan Rice, I would even say João Palhinha. I think he could do a very, very great job at United.
I like him. That's the guy from Fulham, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he's really good. Yeah.
Do you know what it is with Ten Hag though? I know we got Ericsson on a free for Brentford, but he doesn't strike me as the type of guy to dip in the Premier League. I mean, maybe he will this summer, I don't know. But he seems to look in Europe more than he does. You've seen who we've been linked with Pavard and Dumfries and these kind of guys. For whatever reason, it's just my personal opinion. I don't feel like he's going to heavily go into the Premier League market. Maybe that'll change. Maybe he will sign Harry Kane and Declan Rice and it'll completely change my perspective on that. But that's just my personal opinion on that. In order to buy these kind of players, the financials are going to be obviously a massive talking point. And there was some bits on the current debt as well that the Athletic touched on. And I'll read a couple of them out here. So they're saying there will be an emphasis on selling players when the market opens. The club is not generating enough cash through commercial and match day streams to permanently pay off the credit card. Costs are at 107% of the revenue. Manchester United's financial results for the second quarter of this season came with a notable pledge that the £200 million debt owed on what the club term a revolving credit facility is expected to be repaid entirely by June 2023. It talks about a credit with the Bank of America paid for various transfers. United recruit in the summer window will be bought using the same mechanism. United have a £300 million limit with the Bank of America, so there is scope for significant spending as long as it falls within FFP. That's what we're reading. So another twist essentially in the summer spending story. We're hearing different things every single week, it seems, at the minute. Chivi, realistically, how much do we need to spend this summer? We already touched on the positions that potentially we could need. What's the realistic price for that? What's it going to accumulate to? Are we going to end up spending literally 300 million with the way prices are going?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go for the clear out that Ten Hag is supposedly asking for, I'm gonna say between 250 and 300 million. It's probably yeah. But I'm probably told maybe 250. But what does that get you? That's what, 3 players?
Yeah, you don't even know with that because you look. I look at Mudryk and then I look at Enzo Fernandez, who have gone for like 100 million, and I'm like, what does it get you nowadays? How much does that money get you? Like,
I mean, 100 million. Yeah, 100. We got Anthony for 100. Like, well, for 80.
That's what I'm saying. It's so inflated at the minute. I think obviously parts of that was down to United being absolute idiots in the market, in fairness, but a lot of the players we've seen just go in the summer for high price tags, very high price tags. That naturally inflates the market. So you're spending 100 million on Kane, fucking, I don't know, 100 million on Frankie de Jong, and then 100 million on whoever it is,
That's it, yeah. So realistically, I'll say 250, between 250 and 300. And that gets us maybe just a couple of players. This is why we need a sporting director who knows his shit, because
Exactly. If you know anyone out there for 10 million, you can do an absolute job.
Yeah. And that depends. I don't know if you're going to go into this later, but then we'd have to raise money from our own sales as well.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we can raise up to 80. If we can raise 80. No, honestly, like, how are we going to raise 80 million? Like, I don't know, man.
Oh, I can say I'm going to touch on that literally very, very shortly on Sancho and the outgoings.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm getting Slack message.
It's all right. Just mute yourself and then I think I was sorry. Yeah, sure. I don't know. I said mute yourself because I just see the mute button come up and I was like, yeah, just mute yourself, as if it's even relevant to what's going on the screen. Anyway, Shreyas, just give us your thoughts on that as well, the financials going into it. How much do you think are we going to spend? I'm not saying you're the board member at Manchester United and you know the exact figures, but what do you feel like we need to spend this summer?
I think the realistic thing is that we will definitely, pay a lot for a striker. I think the biggest signing for us in the coming window would be of a striker, except that I think the second would be of that number 8 that we'll sign. So I think these two signing itself could take up to about 150 to 160 million of our budget. Then except that we need areas to fill in for depth. So I think realistically, definitely, I think upwards of 200 million, like around 200 to 220 million. I think that would be needed, considering the profile of players that Ten Hag is actually, the kind of players that are being reported. Like if you talk Harry Kane, if you talk Goncalo Ramos as well, if you talk any player right now, Frankie de Jong, they're all they're gonna carry very, very high price tags, and especially with how inflated the market is right now. If a player which could go for like 60 million, you would have to pay 80 or 90 million for them.
Yeah. I agree with literally everything you've both said there. So I think there's going to be a lot of expenditure in the summer. But again, like you touched on there, Chavi, it completely depends on outgoings. Apparently, Ten Hag's going to be absolutely ruthless with a squad clear out as part of the next rebuild. Players like Maguire, Eric Bailly, Brandon Williams, Alex Telles, Martial could potentially be in that bracket as well. This is just reports. I'm not saying this. From Samuel Luckhurst. Who needs to be cut? If we're being absolutely ruthless, Javette, who needs to be cut and how much can we retain for these players in the list?
A lot of players need to be cut, man. Lots of players. Because it's funny because we have a huge squad, but no squad depth. At the same time, there's no depth. You understand? We've got lots of players. But
we just can't play them on a football field.
Yeah, we've got lots of players. Then, exactly. And then you look at the bench against Newcastle. We had two goalkeepers on there. It's ridiculous, and then with no one else to bring on. So, like, I think, but you know what? Like, I think we need to be patient and not get ahead of ourselves. And I think we need to focus on the priorities and get the people that need to go out the door first. So I'm talking your Phil Jones, your Twanze, them ones. Get them out the door, free up the wage bill so that we can pay some other people. Even if it means bringing in some players from the youth squad, bring them up, but then get those ones out, and then you can start. Then that's the priority. Then you look at like the Van de Beeks, Scott McTominay, Martial, whoever, all these ones. you can start thinking about that. But then I think we have to be sensible at the same time. It's not going to. We're not going to have to. We're not going to get rid of 10 players at once. Like
No, we
as
always
much as
have
we,
this discussion.
as much as we really want that, it's not going to
It's not
happen.
FIFA.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to be realistic as well, and get rid of some of those ones, so that even when we start to bring in players, there's space, there's numbers. I mean, imagine if we sign bloody Frankie De Jong and then he has to wear like number 27. Like,
Yeah.
So we have
Your number 70th young. Sorry, mate. I've not got any other numbers.
So that clear out. I think we need to get rid of the fringe players, the ones we haven't seen in a long time. Just clear out the dressing room, bring some fresh air in, and then we can start looking at, it took Pep, 3 seasons? It took what's this guy at Arsenal? Arteta, yeah. This is his 3rd or 4th season, I think.
Yeah.
So it does take time to clear out. Yeah, it took Jurgen Klopp 4 seasons. Get rid of everyone, bring in your players, and then so it's not. I know we're upset from the loss of yesterday, but we still have to be realistic, be patient, allow the process.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Also, I want for the players that are like the Brandon Williamses and Twanzebes of this world, just get him doing. Like sometimes when you go past like a fire engine thing and they're washing the cars and they've got like the things on, just get them all outside Old Trafford in the spandex, get them all like washing cars and stuff, put like a big red sign on him saying for sale, cheap bargain sale. You get Jones, Williams.
Because we're not gonna get any money for them.
Pennies, innit? Quite literally, pennies.
We're not making. Would make what 25 mils from Jones.
Depends who, yeah. Well, I think Jones, Twanzebe are going on a free. I'm pretty sure that they're going on a free. So the wages, in fairness, Phil Jones' wages, 120 grand off is nice, I suppose. It'll add to the FFP. Shreya's always nice saying sell them for this and sell them for that, but two things which you will know yourself. We are notoriously bad at selling players, and most of them are on really high wages as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they definitely are. And that is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of players which we could offload, which we genuinely need to offload as well, we aren't able to, cut the deals in time, because no club in the world would offer them the wages that Manchester United offers them. Like if a certain... You take Twanzebe, for example. If he's being paid around 75 to 100k a week, I wouldn't expect any other Prem club to pay him that sort of wages, considering the amount of games that he's actually featured for us in this season or the past seasons as well. You can say the same case with Maguire. You can even say the same case for Martial. The wages that he's on, they're just too high for any club to actually give to him, considering the kind of profile he brings with, the kind of fitness issues he brings with as well.
Can I just add something? I'll let you go on, but just before, when did Salah sign his new contract? Was that in the summer?
Mo Salah.
I think it was during that window.
Martial's earning more than him per week. Honestly, I think
he's not the only one.
Yeah, Mane was on like 100,000, and I was like 100 grand. That's what Phil Jones. Yeah, Phil Jones was like on 100k not too long ago. Like that's one matter kind of money.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shreyas.
Yeah, and right now we've got a lot of these players, and like it was mentioned before as well, that if you want to get these youth players into the first team and actually give them minutes, you need those spaces and those slots to open up. And till the time we've got that deadwood, those slots are never going to open up, and these young players will never get a chance to feature for us. And some of them might actually be good, some of them might actually be the future for us. Someone that some players that Ten Hag would love to actually invest his time and development in. But if we are not able to replace these players, probably we might not be able to see that happen. Like Scott McTominay is still at the club, and we had to let go of James Garner.
Yeah,
that is the biggest thing.
The one thing I'll say about James Garner, though, is a lot of people were angry about that, and I was kind of in the same bracket myself, and I know loads of others. But the only thing is with him, he hardly started for Everton at all. I've not seen much of him. I don't know if there's been any injury issues or whatever, but that could turn out. You look at it, and obviously Ten Hag, we know is very good at identifying talents and seeing specific needs that he wants in players. Maybe that's something we might look at in the future, 15 million, it is what it is. He didn't really turn out to the player we thought he'd be. I don't know, just throwing something out there to be a devil's advocate. Another player who's on notoriously high wages is Jadon Sancho, 350 grand a week, which is insane. And Samuel Luckhurst putting out before in the MEN saying that Ten Hag's becoming increasingly impatient with Jadon Sancho. Just on Sancho, Chive, do we still have faith in him? Is the cause for concern? What are your thoughts on his performances of late?
Performances, definitely below par. Not what we expect of Jadon Sancho. You know what it is with Sancho? I think the Ronaldo move kind of just put a whole damper on that thing, because the whole thing was he was gonna come, he was gonna be number 7.
Yeah,
that was going to be it, and then I think with the whole Ronaldo thing, he kind of just went downhill from there.
Sorry to win, but there was a lot of that happened with Ronaldo's signing in January. We mentioned Cavani before, Sancho as well. It had a big effect on a lot of transfers.
Even Mason Greenwood, it affected, it stunted their growth and all that. But let's focus on the season now. He hasn't really been up to par. I've seen glimpses, I've seen flashes, but I think it's a mental thing. I don't think it's the style of the Premier League or anything. I think it's still a mental thing that he's dealing with, whatever it is that he's dealing with. Now I understand for someone at £350,000 a week, we're not going to sell that guy anytime soon. At least he's not going to. We might loan him somewhere and then pay half of the wages or something like that. But he's not going anywhere.
Alexis Sanchez, that.
Yeah. So the sooner we come to terms with Jadon Sancho being around, the better. But I think I'm still hoping that he can come through, because I've seen him at Dortmund, and I've seen glimpses of how he can be very important for us. He's got a good relationship with Marcus Rashford, which is great, and I hope that we can leverage on that. I hope that he can grow on that, and I think let's just So he gets one more season after this, and after that, then
sticky in it, because we're talking 2.5 seasons now. It's probably going to end the season on similar figures again. Not like it's all about stats or anything, but the output is obviously important for a winger. We've currently got 10 people in the chat, so do let me know your thoughts on Jadon Sancho, his progress. Would you get rid of him in the summer? Is that too harsh? Talk to us about it. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Shreyas, what do you believe is his best position? When you've seen him operate as a 10, you've seen him operate in the wing, where would you play him personally, looking at his qualities?
I think that is one of the biggest issues that Ten Hag is actually dealing with right now as well, because right now, to be very honest, we don't know Jadon Sancho's primary, position in this team, whether it's as a 10, whether it's as a winger. And I think the area where he would function the best would be where he doesn't have to put in a lot of defensive shifts. It would be the area where, he can actually be on the ball a lot more. He can dictate possession, because he is not, that sort of player who can, he needs that one player to actually, link up with and move forward. He isn't the kind of player who's got, he's not got the ability of Rashford to actually, just completely blitz past defenders and go for goal. He needs, I think it was the game against Fulham in the cup where he wasn't that great, but the moment Luke Shaw started to progress forward, that they were linking up, you saw what Jadon Sancho can actually do on the pitch. And I think that is the biggest thing, because right now Sancho isn't fitting into that style of play, and that's why he's struggling in certain games. In certain games when he's come off from the bench and played as a 10, he's had a better impact on games. He definitely has. But with the kind of setup that we've got at the moment, you can only play Sancho in that number 10 position when you've got Casemiro. When you've not got Casemiro, you cannot play Sancho in that number 10 position. That is the biggest issue that Ten Hag has got right now. And considering the kind of wages he's on, and considering how limited depth we've got, Sancho definitely needs to step up, because Garnacho is out, for a while right now as well. He's injured. So Sancho is the player with, I think on that left wing position, or from the attacking point of view, he's second in line who needs to come off from the bench and make an impact. And right now, he's not able to do that job for us.
It is. I agree with you again, because I feel like as a winger, right, you definitely need pace. It's the top attribute that you need. It's like MMA. You ground, it has to be wrestling because, you know, that's your platform. That's the best thing to go off. You need it. You look at Garnacho, you look at Marcus Rashford, pace is your asset. Exceptions, for example. I remember watching Tadic for Ajax as well under Ten Hag, and Tadic was very good, and he's not quick at all. He's just more of a 10 on the wing, like more of a creative, from what I saw of him anyway. Maybe he can be used like that, but I remember reading the chat before, Chivy, and seeing stuff like maybe he needs to be the Cherry top of the, do you know what I mean? Right platform behind him. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, to a certain extent, but he reminds me, he's similar to what David Silva was at Valencia. So he was left winger, no incredible pace, but he was just really tricky, connected well with players.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, like a wide playmaker sort of thing.
Bernardo Silva, do you think falls into that category as well? Maybe.
Yeah, Bernardo, something like that. Yeah. So I think you can have that. I think it's a mental issue with Jaden. Whatever it is, because we still don't know what happened to him, why he had to go away to Netherlands for training, and we know it wasn't just a physical. Yeah, we know that it was also a mental thing. It wasn't just physical. So I don't know what it is. In regards to him being a cherry on top, I think he's a luxury player. He needs players who are natural ballers around him. He needs quality players. I think he's from that. What's that? Futsal.
Yeah,
he has like a futsal background or something. He's
cage football as well.
Yeah. So he's got that background, and they're all those guys. They're all just techie players, man.
Yeah,
and they're all like telepathic. They just know where they are. Like the way he played at Dortmund, it was the way his connection with Marco Reus. He had a connection with everyone.
Hakimi, Guerrero's the wing back.
It was just mad. Giovanni Reina, all of them, they just had that passing thing. But you can't.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that with McTominay and Wan-Bissaka?
They just killed that conversation straight away. Yeah, that's why he's not. Because you got Wan-Bissaka and McTominay, in comparison.
Yeah, you've got McTominay on, behind him, and Wan-Bissaka overlapping. Like, how are you going to do that? So it's one of those ones, I think, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll park the Jadon Sancho conversation. We obviously hope he comes good and starts performing at the level we know he can, but looks like an uphill battle at the minute with him. Unfortunately, we'll see how they assess that situation. If he's going to be ruthless in the summer, I don't know. We'll see. Just a very quick ownership update as well before we kind of end the show. There's been a few bits around this, not too much, but Ben Jacobs, I think his name is, journalist, has been saying Manchester United suitors expect to hear back from the Rain Group this week and get clarity on the next step of the process. With the cost of borrowing rising, any offer involving debt is becoming more expensive. And if this makes Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid for United more conservative, the Glazers may not get the bidding war that they hope for and could argue their demands were not met. No immediate end to the United sale process is expected. Rain Group's next response to the offers could range from cutting the process to a sole bidder or limited to or extending the time frame. So it just seems like it's going to go on and on and on and on. Are you guys expecting anything this week at all? Do you have expectations, Shreyas?
I don't think so. I think this will drag out this entire month as well. I think realistically, if the Glazers, operated the way, they publicized the sale to go through, we should have had new owners up and, by now. I think it should have been done, but I think they're trying to, just drag it out. They're trying to get as much money as they possibly can, and that's why I think they will drag out this entire month, unless something horrible happens with the way we play or something horrible happens in the pitch, then probably something might speed up. But till the time things are, just like normal, there isn't much eruption on the pitch or something, I think they will drag this month out as well. And probably by the, start of next month, we'll be starting to hear more rumors or, more things about this ownership as to when it will actually happen.
It's weird, Trevor, because I remember Mike Keegan, who's been very good on this, saying, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, saying it could be done by Easter. It's not going to be done by that time frame now, is it? I mean, Easter's a couple of weeks or something. So where's your head at with the whole situation? Are you still on the fence as to who you want to take over? When do you think it'll be done? Just guesstimating, essentially.
I'm actually just tired of the whole thing, to be honest. Like,
I know, I'm the same.
Yeah,
We've got to discuss
yeah.
it. That's what I mean. Like, it's just recycled nonsense, isn't it? A lot of the time.
It's like, we don't know what's going on. I'm just tired of it. Like, whenever there's a significant step, then I remember, like, when this whole thing was going on. After like 2 days of watching Sky News, I was just like, this is bullshit. Because every time on Sky News, they're like, oh, we've got an exclusive. Kai, whatever his name is,
Savico.
Yeah, Savico. And he literally just said the same thing. That he literally would just read, the Twitter caption.
Yeah.
He would just read it really slow and make it sound authoritative.
And the way he does it, he goes, the information I'm getting, I'm receiving
now.
Yeah. That's it.
Manchester United will Craig. I don't really, I can't be asked. And to be honest, given the options that we have, I'm sold now on Qatar.
Okay, interesting.
Given the options, it's either Qatar or Jim Ratcliffe, who I have no trust in. And what's the guy? Sam's guy. What's that Sam's guy? The guy from Finland, what's his name?
Zielinski. Zielinski.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy's like, I don't know what he's smoking.
Yeah, you know what? I've always stood by the point that I think in terms of what's best for the club, who's going to invest the most money, who will probably have the best plan, I do feel like it would be Qatar. Again,
debt-free, bro. Debt-free.
Yeah. It, of course, does bring its own problems along with that, which we're always going to highlight as a channel. But I don't know, man. I think every billionaire or whoever it is going to bring their own players. We've been around this circle numerous times. Everybody's got their own opinion on it. I'm not trying to tell people how to think. It's just Absolutely.
That's just my personal choice. I'm not saying, I just prefer that because just very quickly as well. I just like the way, in football terms only, not in general. I just like the way they operate. So when they got City, they didn't faff about they got City, they got like the most capable football manager, the most capable football director. I was like, just do it, right? Just go ahead and do it. Like they got Guardiola, they got Chicky Bergenstein. Do what you need to do. They went to at PSG as well. They got Leonardo, former player who's now a director.
Just to cut you in, City is Abu Dhabi. It's not Qatar. Just like PSG is Qatar.
I know. But, they get painted in the same light.
Yeah, like state kind of.
Oh yeah, the state ownership, the oil, the middle. That's what I mean. So I like the way they run it because they just leave the football decisions to football people.
Yeah.
They're not trying to. It's not like Todd Boehly who doesn't know anything about football. Exactly.
Sack Tuchel, bring in Potter, sack Potter, bring in Nagelsmann probably. The German coach, just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, that's what appeals to me. Just the fact that if they come in, I know that they might just get like a football director. We already have a good manager. They just let the football people do the stuff. And just take the money, go away and do what you need to do.
Yeah. I was waiting for Sam's comments then to creep up in the chat when we're talking about ownership. Nothing as of yet. He's very quiet at the minute. Which is unlike him. Treyas, have you still got splinters in your backside from sitting on the fence about this ownership situation?
That's the thing. I just really don't know who to go with because I don't know what they will actually do with the club. Like, when you speak about Qatar, you do see, what they've actually done with the club that has been at their disposal. With Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you don't really see that great of a picture when you see the kind of club that he's operated with. So, of course, if you look at it in that perspective, Qatar is the way to go. But I just don't know how they would operate with the club. The moment I see, these are the things that we want to work with. This is how, where we see Manchester United to stand in 5 years' time. And this is how we would like to work towards to actually achieve that goal. Like, till the time it comes out, I really don't know who I would definitely go with.
And it's weird as well because the club, like Manchester United, with all the traditions and all the history to become state-owned, is a little bit weird for me. Just a little bit. I know that the way football's kind of going. First, you had millionaires, Then it goes to like billionaires and multi-billionaires. That's just the way of the world that it's going. And it feels like if you want to compete with the Newcastles now, and obviously Newcastle not in that position at the minute, but I'm talking about eventually when they do, and City as well, you need that super wealth in terms of investment as well. We need like so much fucking investment in the stadium and other facilities. You kind of feel like you need super wealth to compete now. So that's the thing that's leaning a lot of people towards Qatar. You talk about money, they're going to have the most. So yeah, let's see how that develops. Of course, if anything breaks around the ownership situation, I'll go live or we'll go live. So turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing when we do go live. And yeah, lots of content as always this week. Many things. My brain's scrambled because I've been busy all day, so I can't remember what we've got on, but there is a lot of stuff. So don't worry about that. And then the membership video, I believe I'm probably going to do after this. So whoever it is who's a member, Shah, Sam, Dan, and I think Mark E, I think it was, we'll have the membership video up for you as well. Make sure you follow us on socials. Instagram, my brain is fucked. It's absolutely fucked. Just follow us on socials.
I can literally see you fading.
Yeah. Like, honestly, so busy. Just follow us on socials if you like. Subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. And
yeah. I don't know where they are.
Thank you. They're about somewhere. I think they're this way. So, they're all next to Chimmy's head. Yeah. Right. Cheers for coming on, lads. We'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, I'll be a bit more revitalised next time.
Yeah.
Peace.